Today I saw this message about Shannon Doherty. So she had passed away apparently a couple of days ago. And I was a bit shocked. Why? Because we are the same age, or we were the same age. And I always said, I'm not going to live past 50. Well, I'm 53 at the moment. So I've passed that stage, but it does remind me again about how short life can be and how important it is to get most out of life while you can do it. I've seen so many people pass away at this early age. And, you know, for a while people used to say, we've been older than we've ever been. And I've been saying for a while now, well, I think we are past that point of having the oldest people. There are too many people dying either from cancer or heart attacks. It's just, you know, and that's apart from COVID. I know it took a toll on a lot of people. But if you look at beyond the COVID age, then you know, heart attacks, and stress, because I do believe that stress is a big part of what's behind all the diseases and the passing on nowadays. And, you know, it reminds me again how important it is to be more in the now, be more aware of what it is you want to do, taking more time out instead of postponing things, giving yourself more grace. I mean, if you don't do it now, when are you going to do it? And like I said, you never know how long you will be there. So I tend to make it a habit to let people know that I truly appreciate them every day, again and again and again. So if for some reason I were to pass on, or they were to pass on, that could be too, right? They would know how I felt and I wouldn't have had any regrets. Now, getting back to Shannon Doherty, it's not like I was the biggest fan, but she was there in a lot of series growing up. I mean, 90210 when I was at high school, of course, 90210 was there. And Charmed, of course, I've seen Charmed a lot in the last couple of years. So I would see her regularly on TV. And well, just recently, as in a few minutes ago, less than an hour, I learned that she actually had a podcast. And, well, obviously she didn't know when she was going to pass away, other than it wouldn't be that long, because otherwise it would have been a different message on that podcast. I've got a podcast too, Lady Lexi Speaks Up. I'm not very good at actually posting things regularly, so I usually post things in batches. So I tend to take the recordings from my Friday Night Lives, which are weekly on YouTube, and the recordings from my Monday motivational messages, which are also weekly, not always on YouTube, because every now and then I do have some short messages on there, but it's always a combination of text, things to figure out, things to think about, things to consider, and, you know, something that I want to get across. And in order to be motivational, it doesn't have to be that long. So that's the good thing. Also, I've learned when it comes to blog posts, they shouldn't be too long. So basically, if I write them down, they are, well, basically on one page. And that's about it. I could write way more, but the question, of course, is, are people going to read it? And if not, then probably I should write things somewhere else or post them somewhere else. But right now, I guess this is about appreciating life. And like I said, if you've been postponing things, maybe it's time to think about, hey, what can I do? What do I want to do? What's that thing that I would regret if this were to be my last day? And earlier today, I was thinking about something that I'm not entirely sure about. And I was like, yeah, I can not do it, but what if? And that's a very big what if. I know why I want to do it. I'm not going to talk about it right now. But there are some doubts on my mind. And what I do know is that in the next 6 weeks, I am going to focus on getting it done. So that's a good thing. Brendan Burchard, he spoke in Ultra about focusing on that one thing that we want to get out there. And it was like, okay, it's something I want to accomplish. So let's just focus on it all the time. Visualizing, working on it, breathing it. And that's going to be so cool. And well, the things I needed to do, which always take, well, actually it didn't. You know, every quarter I have to make sure that all the stuff gets to the accountant. And last time I actually recorded about it, I was like, oh, this was actually pretty easy. You know, I'm getting used to it. And when I was doing it the last couple of days, I remembered what I had said. So before I actually brought it over to the accountant, I was like, okay, I do need to sleep. So I'm going to sleep, set the alarm, and I don't have to worry because I know in the last few hours before I go there and before they close shop, I'll be able to drop it off. And that was true. I made it in time and I didn't feel stressed at all. And it was such a big victory for me. Like, oh, yeah, it's true. You know, the more you do it, the easier it gets. And I found my routine. Of course, Apple has the tendency to just look at whatever account there is to charge things from. Always the wrong one. I don't know how they do it, why they do it, but they tend to do it. And I found a solution to make the accountant aware of what's actually business and, well, basically charged on the wrong account. But that's not that interesting. What's interesting is the ease I felt when doing it. And talking about that same ease, I gave training today. Now, because I was a little tired, I had some trouble driving back to this place in order to be able to give the training. I was planning, and there she is. I was waiting for her. I would love to join her, but maybe she just is going to give some comments. I had some trouble getting there in time because I was so tired, and it was like, well, if I'm going to drive the car, then I need to be a little bit rested. But after a while, I was good to go. And at first, we were going to do the group coaching training from CHPC. Yes, Brendan Burchard, which is about productivity. But I have a tendency, whenever I do group coaching training, to talk to the people and see what's going on, what's on their mind. And so we actually started talking about socializing and about doubts and how to show up. So actually, it was about trust and appreciation. And so we had someone in the hot seat, and it was so good to see her opening up. It really made such a difference. And in the end, I was like, okay, I'm going to do a quick training. So if I've done hot seats, I won't be recording the hot seats. I don't want the students to be on the video. But I do believe that it's important that whatever we talked about, that it's being addressed. So I said, okay, mute your microphones and then I'll go talk. Well, I did, and then I forgot that I hadn't hit the record button. Yes. So afterwards one said, you didn't hit the record button, and I was like, oh yeah, that's true. And then, we talked about it for a while, and then I started doing it again, and I actually got a good recording out of it. So that's nice. But, all combined, I didn't have much time to get into what I started talking about, which was that I was shocked about the passing of Shannon Doherty. I literally saw it like a second on Instagram. Yeah, that's oops, when you forget to hit record. It's a good thing that I don't mind talking into the camera. And what I actually realized, that I might be able to use this light. Oh, well, I don't think it's much of an improvement. It's probably because I need to get to some sleep right now. So let's do it without that one. Well, actually, that's the thing when it's live. You can get to play around. Well, so, you don't know this because I started talking about it when I started the live. But she was my age. And when I saw she had passed away, I was like, oh my God. And, well, I wasn't a big fan of hers. But, I was there growing up, or she was there when I was growing up, with 90210. And then later on with Charmed. And it makes me aware of how precious life is. Well, I don't have to tell you, Joe, because you know. Yes, well, exactly. That's a long time to be battling cancer. First, apparently breast cancer, and then she was in remission, and then it came back again with a vengeance. And, I always heard about spreading cancer through the body, but lately I have heard also about it spreading to the brain, and that's basically... you don't know what's going to happen if it affects your brain, if you'll be able to speak, all those kind of things. Just take an actor like Bruce Willis, and I'm so grateful that people are actually showing how he's doing lately. So at some point I was watching a movie and I was like, oh my God, it's like there's a delay in what you're saying. And that's when I started Googling him, and I realized that he also is dealing with, I think it's with cancer, with disease. So, no, it's not cancer, it's dementia. That's what it is. And, well, I have to applaud those people who show us nowadays what it's like to be dealing with certain diseases. Take Michael J. Fox, who is dealing with, what's the trembling called again? Parkinson's disease. And, we all know him from the young guy, Back to the Future, playing the guitar and everything. And you can see that despite his disease, he still gets out there. Yes, Parkinson's. And I have to say, it's so good to actually see how other people are dealing with dementia, Parkinson's, cancer, whatever it is. And again, it makes me aware of, let's make the most of life while we actually can. So, with aging, it's the way it is. We are experiencing certain things. And quite honestly, I am very thrilled to say that lately I've been able to walk a little bit better, that I'm feeling a little bit better than before. So there are some things that I still need to figure out, which have kept me from really working out and getting my heart rate up, because whenever my heart rate goes up, it goes up really high, and then I get dizzy, and then I get tired, and then I want to sleep. So working out is sort of like a no-no. But of course, getting on my bike, which isn't that stressful, unless of course I have to do it for a long time and there's wind against me. So then it takes a lot of energy. But the walking and all that stuff, and especially and Cheeky Joe is going to, I don't know what you're going to say now. But Pokemon Go has helped me to actually go for walks and take a break in between, because the Pokestops, they are located at playgrounds and near benches. So that gives me the opportunity to actually sit down when I'm doing stuff. So lots of times I'll go walking to the supermarket, unless I only have a short amount of time, or there might be rain, then I'll take the bike and go there. But when I do walk, I tend to play Pokemon as well. And, well, sometimes I just need to stop in order to do certain things, and then I'll move on again. But it helps me to actually strengthen those muscles again. So the pain in my left leg has finally subsided. It's there, but it's hardly there. So my physical therapist do work on it. And it's also related to my back. So I have some vertebrae with arthritis. And sometimes it becomes herniated. Fortunately for me, it was only like a week, like last year. And that week was enough to actually change things for the better. It sounds a little bit weird, but it actually excluded the pain. So for a week, I was pain-free in my left leg. I realized I needed to use crutches again, which was no fun. But, I'm walking now better than I've ever done before. So she says, oh my God, Roy does it, goes on walks, and Taylor too. So Taylor is Joe's daughter and Roy is her husband. When I'm around there, they both disappear to do a raid. Oh, yeah, so they are totally into Pokemon, and we just had Go Fest. So I'm kind of curious what Joe's going to say about that. And, I started a year ago with the previous Go Fest, which was, for me, coincidental, but it started out with Pokemon Sleep. And then I got the device, which is called Pokemon Go Plus, so it's like a Pokeball. And I was like, well, let's see what happens when I go walk using it. And I haven't regretted it for a little bit. Not at all, because it helped me to improve my walking again. So now I can finally focus on my lower back, which is good. So just for the record, because I'm hypermobile, my back tends to be, it's instead of loosening up, it does the opposite. So it's like I cannot move my pelvis the way it should move anymore. And actually that starts to hurt. And, you know, being aware of this and having a physical therapist who does 3D therapy for my back, I didn't know it existed, but he's come fresh off the academy and he's amazing with what he does. And well, I'm going to be in his capable hands for the next 3 to 4 weeks because the other two therapists, physical therapists, are on holiday now. They are making a journey in Asia, so that's good. So it's going to be interesting, but because of what he's doing and because everything is loosening up again, and I can actually say I'm experiencing this, that, or the other. So, for instance, when I'm playing drums and I use both my legs, I'm dealing with stability, right? Because you're using both your hands, both your feet. So you move around on the stool. That's something that, well, that's, you know. So, and then I'm like, okay, so I need to use those abdominal muscles in order to actually make sure that the right muscles and my lower back is actually used the way it should be used. But I can also tell that it actually leads to certain issues if I don't pay attention the right way. Well, anyway, I'm going to see the guy later on today. So then I'm going to talk to him about it. So another thing when I'm walking, yes, getting back to Pokemon Go, is something that one of the other physical therapists, the lady, has taught me is to do 8s, like salsa dancing. And then the other, her husband, actually said that I need to be more aware of tightening up the muscles on the inside of my legs. So the ones you actually go past your knees. And because otherwise my knees, the tendons of my knees have a habit of actually not being on the right track anymore. When they go out of track, that hurts, I can tell you. And try going up and down the stairs, especially down the stairs, when it doesn't go the way it should. But apart from that, it feels that I'm more aware of my health this time around in my life. I started doing a lot of fitness when I was early 20s. So when I was still in high school, I didn't work out. I couldn't, my knees hurt too much. And then it was early 20s, I discovered fitness. So end of 20s, I became a fitness trainer and a medical fitness instructor. And all was nice and well until a decade ago. I tripped on a brick and I twisted my ankle and tore a ligament, and then a bone started shifting, which the tendons were attached to. And well, we are a decade later now, and for the first time I'm like, oh, things are improving. And that's nice that I'm actually, you know, like, okay, I'm going to consider getting back on my bike again, going to ride on my bike to the beach. So no, I don't have an e-bike. I want to ride my bike. I want to use my muscles. And last year, when I started riding my bike to the beach, it really hurt my leg, and I had to put my crutches on there again. I hadn't used my crutches on the bike for a year and a half. And then when I had to reattach them again, that was a bit of, yeah, that was no fun. And I remember going uphill, and by the time I would be uphill, it would hurt so badly. And I'm kind of curious, if I go do it now, I'm good to go again. And it would be a great workout, because that would mean it's for me to be on my bike. Going there to the beach is actually like 35 to 40 minutes. And here's the funny thing, when I go back, it's more like 25 minutes. And that's because there are no traffic lights that I need to stop for. Well, there are a few, and well, I'll honestly say, I know the route, so I know where I can basically ignore them. I know what I need to pay attention to, but normally I'm a very responsible person. You could say I'm the one who drives the car, but then on the bike. So I look at things differently. And, the idea of being able to go back to the beach and go there on my bike and then go for a walk, that's actually very exciting. And unfortunately, the beaches are not what they used to be. They've been reorganizing the whole boulevard. I'm not sure if that's an English word, actually. So where you walk, they've been rebuilding it. So there are apartments looking over, which now have an ocean view. And, I'm not that good with changes. I'm very nostalgic when it comes to those things. So one of my favorite places, which was a pancake restaurant, I visited recently in a different place, in a different location, in a different city, and they still have the best pancakes over there. It's the way it is. And so it wasn't as appealing to go there as it was like before I had all those problems with my left leg. And, seeing all those memories on Facebook, it's like, oh my God, I used to go there, whether it was summer or winter time, I would go there on my bike. And so much has changed in over a decade. I cannot believe. So she says, remember when you done a live at the beach at 2 a.m. on your bike last year? Well, actually, I don't. But if you say I did, then I'll believe you. So, I don't know. Everything is closed by 2 a.m. at the beach. But yeah, I probably rode back on my bike and then did a little... I don't think I did a live. I probably did a where you do things where it takes snapshots like every few seconds. I think that's what I did. But if you say I did a live, then I'll believe you. So, but yes, it's one of the things I saw on Instagram today is timestamps. That's the one I was looking for. A time lapse video. It wasn't live, but it was recorded while I was on my bike. I'm pretty sure I did a time lapse. While I was on Instagram, there was this Captain blah blah blah. I don't know how he called himself. And she says, yes, it was really dark. You could only see the lights on the harbor. I think it was on the video call to me, not a live. Oh, I remember now. So usually I go to Kijkduin, which is on one side of The Hague, say on the left side when you are looking at the ocean. So when I'm standing on the beach waving to Jo, because she's on the other side of the ocean. And then on the right side is actually Scheveningen. And well, in summertime, they have something which is called Sea Sparkle. And you have to go there, well, around 11 or a little bit later. So when it's warm, there's not much rain or no rain at all. And there's not too much wind. You can actually see the sea light up. It's sort of like a green color. So during daytime, you would actually see pink, orange pink-like colors, which is like algae, and they light up. And when people are moving in the ocean, that's actually when you can see sea sparkles. So that's what it was. Yeah, I remember that again, that I went there, and I wasn't the only one actually who went there, but it's like a rare occurring thing. And I actually looked for cameras here would pick up the sea sparkle. So it's a nice way to experiment with cameras. But when I do so, I don't go on my bike, I go by car. So I'm pretty sure I did so too. I went there by car, parked the car, and then I walked there. So that's what I did. And yeah, getting back to the whole thing, including that Captain something, whenever I say Captain in my mind, I connect it to Captain Iglo. It's kind of funny. He's the one from the fish. So in the Netherlands, we call him Captain Iglo. But he said something. He talked about the importance, and I didn't know, about infrared light when the sun is going up and when the sun is going down again. And he also talked about the importance of walking on the beach and feeling the sand between your toes. And it was like, oh, that would actually be a nice thing to combine again. Of course, I won't be going on my bike when it's raining. And this is Holland, so there's a lot of rain, unfortunately. Not long ago, I was walking outside and it was raining again, which was last Monday, actually. I was on a live with Brendan Burchard. He was giving training, and it was like, well, I'm not going to hold my phone just to look at him because, the camera might get wet, the film might get wet. I don't want that. So it's something that, that's why I remember that it was actually raining. And I think I actually encountered some rain today too, because I remember using the screen wipers. So either my window was filthy or there was actually rain. I think it's the latter. So, and yeah. So getting back to the whole stuff, getting back to, well, being half a century old, I think it's more important than ever to be aware of how we are living life, what we can do, how we can improve things when it comes to our health, because we don't know how long we will have. And it might not even be related to some sort of disease. I mean, something can happen, like a car accident or, well, traffic accidents are actually notorious for fatal accidents. But things can happen, and I know from the last decade that tripping on a brick, something so trivial, can have such a huge impact on my life. Before that I would work out. I would get dizzy because my heart rate would go up. But, everything that I gained from early 20s till later on, I basically lost so much due to not being able to walk on 2 feet. And it's time to get back to that again and to get back feeling better, being better in shape, and not only doing those things on a physical level, but also doing those things when it comes to mental level. So training the brain. I've been reading a lot about neurodivergency, about neurodivergence. I'm one of those. And for years now, and that is actually because of what happened, tripping on the brick, it had so much effects. And then, of course, there was the health insurance companies who didn't pay for the sessions anymore, the treatments anymore. So me being a therapist, they didn't pay for that anymore. So I did everything I needed to do, and then at some point I was like, I'm done with everything. And the funny thing is that just recently I picked it back up again, and well, apparently they are paying for sessions. But one of the things that I started doing, and it actually started when I still was a therapist, when people would still come to me, but it changed into a more intense way of guiding people, especially the young ones out there, was people who don't see any perspective. And then we usually do get to the young ones out there who are in their 20s, whether mid-20s or late 20s, who are neurodivergent and sometimes are also dealing with health issues, who have trouble finishing their studies. And so it's the transition into adulthood, having their own place to live, but also having enough money to be able to have a place to live, who at some point they hit so many obstacles that they're like, I'm done. And that's when I get in and I help them to get their life back to where it should be. And, those last couple of years have been very intense. But the good thing about it is, because of everything that have happened with my ankle, I so have learned to speak up and speak out to the medical community, but also other people, because I needed help. I still need help because I still cannot walk long distances, and I never know what to expect. So let's be clear on that part. And having learned that I am becoming a role model for those people, because I am not afraid to speak up and speak out, it makes such a difference. And that actually gets me back to what I talked about earlier today during my training. So not being afraid to speak up and speak out, if you relate that to being somewhere and wondering, what am I going to say to other people? So feeling comfortable around other people, comfortable to share about who you are, or comfortable to actually ask someone else questions, comfortable to give people a smile. Those things can make such a difference. And I remember that time when I wasn't at ease at all around people, that I didn't know how to behave, what to say. And fortunately, that has changed. That has changed big time. So when I look at famous people, they are still people for me. And I've got a lot of friends who are musicians who, they are famous. Good on them. And I actually used to listen to their music, not all of them, but some of them. But nowadays, hanging out with them, it's like, they are people. They're human beings like you and me, and we talk about a lot of different things. And that's good, and we all sort of deal with the same things in life. That's, there, even when you're good at a certain skill, there are certain things which apply to everyone. And, but being able to connect with people, that's not normal for everyone. There are a lot of people who are shy. And, when we talk about friends, I still have friends from elementary school, actually one. And I still have friends from high school. And then I have friends from all the places where I used to work. So that's nice too. And sure, I do realize that for a lot of people, it's hard to actually meet new people and become friends with those people. And well, going to a lot of concerts, I also have a lot of concert friends, which is actually quite nice. Now, the not so nice thing is most of those people live far away. But, when we do meet up, it's always good. So that's nice. So yeah, getting back to the whole thing when it comes to health and appreciation of life. Reading that one message about Shannon Doherty, it reminds me again about life and how easily life can change. So, like Chiki Jo said, she knew it for a long time, and well, I've lost colleagues to cancer too, so I know about the struggle. But it's good to be aware of, hey, what do I want out of life right now, and what can I do to actually be in the best shape of my life physically, but like I said, also on a mental level, so, and emotionally. So what is it that you would like to do? What is it what you haven't done just yet? What is it you would like to experience, and what's keeping you from doing it? And I know that fear is often the cause, fear of failure. But, if you look at the other side, the flip side of fear of failure, we actually have the fear of missing out. So, and focusing on learning new things, it's actually good for the brain. So, yes, let's focus on that brain. Let's focus on experiencing new things. And, it gives us a boost. It gives us endorphins. And that gives us a good feeling, It's exciting to learn new stuff. And, on one hand, I'm like, I don't want to change all those things, back in the days. But on the other hand, I'm learning so many new things, and it's actually kind of exciting to see where can I get it to go to. And that's what I meant when I said, there are some things that I want to have achieved in 6 weeks. And no, I'm not going to share it. Chiki Jo knows, but I'm not going to share it right now. But I will tell you when I have achieved it. So that's a good thing. And I'm going to take the advice from Brendan to actually only focus on that one thing. And it's like immersing myself in it with the thoughts, the things that I can do, work on it. And I'm quite curious if the moment that I immerse myself fully in that goal, visualizing that I'm there, that I'm doing certain things, that I've achieved certain things, that I'm working with certain people, how that's going to change me working on all that stuff. So I'll keep you posted on that one. Well, this was supposed to be a short live. It's been longer than I wanted to. But, well, if you want to know more and figure out stuff more, need to learn how to speak up, then check out my website, ladylexi.com. And if you go to ladylexi.com/blog, then check out my blog post. Every Monday there's something, and like I said, that's the motivational version. And on Friday I usually look back on the week. So there's a lot of stuff out there. There's actually a podcast too. You should be able to find it on both Apple and Spotify. So let me know what you like best and also about today. And if you are ready for change, then you can also go to ladylexi.com/sign up for change. Well, I'll talk to you soon, and let me know what you think about what you would like to change.